Wordcloud. So here we go. So we're in the midst of recording. We'll give everybody a couple of minutes. Uh, I'm going to assume, at least for temporarily, that everybody's got at least our studio up and running. Now, whether or not you got a successful Wordcloud or not, we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, but everybody should be online. I know there was one person who was definitely having major internet issues, and they're not going to be here today. But I feel terrible about it. But there's nothing you can do if you can't download the software. If your internet is not capable of watching videos and downloading the software, I don't know what to do. I really. Other than coming on campus and sitting in the library or wherever, I mean, there's really not much we can do because we've got to be able to get to the software and at least, as crappy as this interaction is, I wish we were all in the computer labs and we could, be a lot more efficient. But we're where we are, so we'll do the best we can. So a couple of things are going on, and I am going to see if I can share this screen. Is it 11:30? Yeah, we're good. 11:30. I wonder if I can. If you could share your whole desktop. I think you can.
Yeah, you can. I don't know how to do that because I have.
Wait. I think I got it.
Yeah.
I'm looking. How's that?
That's good. Yeah.
You should be able to see, and I think, thankfully, you could tell I'm at work. Let's see, here we go. I'm just adjusting it in case some people like to do the chat function on these things, but I got multiple monitors in my office. So good. So you can kind of see our studio is here. And part of what some people are forgetting to do is when you're running in R, there are two steps to getting your program up and running. The first, of course, if you look up at the top of the left-hand quadrant of my R studio, and I'm going to highlight everything, or at least part of it, is you have to install the packages, okay? That's the part where the packages get physically downloaded from the internet onto your computer. Usually they're downloaded into a working directory. Yeah.
I remember you were in one of the last lectures you were talking about it. Do you use like a MacBook by chance or no?
I do have one at home. I don't have one here.
So all of this is it all should work on that though, right?
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, as long as you have our studio running, and our studio does come in a what do they call it, a DMG folder for Mac, and should be fine. Should be fine. The only time Macs really get in trouble is if you're too many generations behind. Then the Apple operating system requires you to load Xcode.
Yeah.
Which is the graphic, right? And that I used to have to do it for some software I used to run, and that was one of the things. I actually have a MacBook Pro. I'm going to guess it's about 7 years old. Yeah, maybe 8. I think I bought it right after Sandy.
Oh yeah.
And I used to have to use Xcode. And basically what it did was it caused me to rip out the DVD drive, install some solid state disks in it, up the memory, change the processor. Don't ask me why I didn't just buy a new one. And so now I'm running the newest operating system, and it's just much easier to deal with, I think, than the older one.
Okay.
But in either case, you need to be able to install packages. When you install the package, and we're going to go through this exercise in our next project again. I mean, this is just what you have to do to work with R. And the reason is unlike other statistical analysis or programming packages that you may have used before, so for example, if you use JUMP or SAS or Systat or any of those other kind of packages, they're basically all in one giant piece. And so every time you open the program, you're loading every bit and piece of it, which means there's not a lot of memory left, or at least there's limited memory left for doing computations. What R does is put you in a position where you download only what you need, so that it's such a compact and efficient program, it actually runs much faster than a lot of the other potential programs you might use. So when you install the packages, it takes the package, downloads a compressed file, usually a zip file, into a temporary directory on your computer, and then installs the code. It opens up the zip file automatically. You don't have to do anything to have it do this. It opens it and puts it in a working directory that R uses to actually do the calculations. Now, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. What you have to do then, once you install the packages, and by the way, as my note here in this line in our studio says, these packages will automatically load what are called dependencies. So if, for example, somebody was having trouble, a couple people were having trouble with the corpus statement, which is part of the text mining packages. That's the TM, text mining. Okay, and if TM requires corpus, what it'll do is it will automatically download corpus for you. It happens like behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about it. So this concept of loading dependencies is a really handy dandy feature, because you don't have to load each and every individual little bit. Once they are downloaded to your computer, you actually have to load the package into the working memory of R. So you have to physically tell R, oh yeah, that text mining package that we downloaded, we're going to use it now. And that you do that through the command library. And you can see that there are a couple of different packages in the part I highlighted in our studio. So library is saying we're going to use the package we already downloaded. So we've got library text mining, library snowball C, library Wordcloud, library R color brewer. You can, if you type these in, you must, especially if you're using a Mac, but you must get into the habit of using correct capitalization. You have to use the correct capitalization. If you recall, Microsoft Windows doesn't care. Windows does not recognize capitalization when it comes to a file name. So you could name my file .doc or whatever, .text, capital M-Y, capital F-I-L-E .txt, and Windows thinks that's the same as all lowercase M-Y-F-I-L-E .txt. Okay, Windows doesn't care. However, Macs and any Unix-based computer, Unix or Linux, do pay attention to capitalization. They use a different text coding format than Windows. So you have to make sure, I just think it's always easiest to make sure that you pay attention to capitalization, because you never know what kind of computer you're going to be working on in the future. Okay, you never know. sometimes, like me, I actually have 3 different laptops. I have a Windows laptop, a Linux laptop, and a Mac laptop. And generally, I use the Linux. The Linux one is my main workhorse. I like working in Unix, but I have a lot of experience in it. But I have a company that I consult for that requires Microsoft Windows. I hate them, but anyway, that's why I needed a Microsoft Windows computer. And then I have another company that I used to consult for that required Macintosh computers. So I ended up, just because of work, I ended up with all 3. So you don't know where you're going to end up. So what you want to do is make sure you learn in a process that will be most general for you in the future. Because trust me, if you get used to not paying attention and then all of a sudden you're thrown into an environment where it matters, it becomes very difficult to adapt. At least if you're like me, that's my experience. So I want you just to pay a little bit closer attention. So that is a problem a couple of people were having in terms of installing and actually loading the packages into recent memory, okay? Now, the other problem that we were having, and perhaps it's a bit of my fault, not your fault, and I'm going to switch over. Hopefully you're seeing my my file manager here. And let's see, I'm going to go to my Dropbox. Hang on, just all my crap. Is that when we were inputting the document, we were inputting our doc files, either from Microsoft Word or from wherever, either as a doc or a docx file. And I think this is a good time to show you what these files actually are. All right. Now, you probably know, and I'm just going to open a browser here for a second. Hang on. I'm going to open a browser. Let's go to just our handy dandy stockton.edu. And you know that what you're seeing here is not really what the program looks like, okay? This is an HTML file, hypertext markup language, and what it's doing is it is actually giving your computer via your web browser a set of instructions to assemble this page. That's what HTML does. Have you guys, I'm assuming some of you guys have written web pages before? Nobody? A couple people? So just to show you, oh, come on. There used to be a little view source button here. Don't panic. There you go. So just to show you what it looks like, the actual file that underlies the Stockton web page that you see looks like all of this stuff. And this is classic HTML code. Okay? It doesn't really matter. Let me see if I can make it a little bit larger so you might be able to see a little better. Oops. Try making it bigger.
That's good.
Yeah, so the bottom line is you don't have to learn all these commands, but this is actually what underlies HTML. This is HTML code. That's why it's called hypertext markup language, okay? So that's your HTML. Microsoft, for years, created proprietary formats for their documents, for their spreadsheets, for their databases, in fact, for their emails. They were proprietary, and the only way you could ever work with them was to use a Microsoft product. There was no other way to look at anything, any other way to edit a document or an Excel spreadsheet. Eventually, the computing or information technology community at large realized that this was really not the best way to be. We needed a way to share information. The only other choice was a text file. And text files are great, but you can't change fonts. Okay, you can't make them look pretty. You can't bold, you can't italics, you can't do any of those things. So there had to be another way. So they created something called the Open Document Format, which, as you might guess, is an ODF extension. Microsoft got really cranky because a lot of, not in the United States so much, but a lot of countries, some of the largest computer users in the world, defined as China, the Netherlands, and Brazil, and several other South American countries, but those are the big players, started to avoid using Microsoft software and using only programs that would be able to read open document format. So Microsoft decided to change up. They got rid of their proprietary format and they created our new format called, right here, docx. docx. And so the question really is, when we're talking about using R and importing a docx file, what is it that we're actually asking R to do? And I want to show you. So I'm going to take our docx file and I'm going to copy it, make a new one. This is so you can see I got a copy of, this is my full resume from January of 2020, so it's a year out of date. If you were to look at it with Microsoft Word, you double click on it, and basically you see a typical resume, okay? However, just like the Stockton web page, what underlies all this, okay? What's underneath all this? And I'm going to show you. It turns out that the X in docx or XLSX or their database format, which is DB something X, we want to be able to look at this, and I want to show you the X stands for XML, or guess HTML, hypertext markup language. XML is extra markup language. So we're going to change, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So any of these files that Microsoft now creates with an X at the end of the extension name is actually a zip file. And everybody knows what a zip file is, right? It's a compressed file to save space. Okay? Everybody's blank, so either give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know you're with me, okay? Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the copy of my resume and I'm going to rename it. And the reason I'm going to rename it is I'm going to rename it a zip file. Because by renaming it a zip file, and of course it gets cranky when you want to do this. It says, are you sure? You might not be able to use it. And it might be unstable. And the answer is, of course I want it because I know what I'm doing. All right. Notice the icon changed because the extension changed. But now I have a copy of my resume as a zip file. What I'm now going to do is double click it so you could see what's inside the compressed file. And when I do that, I wonder if I can make this bigger. Can I make it bigger? No, I don't know how to do it. What you can see now is we have within that zip file, there are several folders and a document. And notice, even Microsoft Windows realizes it's an XML document, okay? So what we're gonna do is there are all these, the first two, this underline RELX, S rather, is a hidden directory, and then doc props is actually document properties. This is where information from your template may lie, but I'm gonna go into the Word folder and notice, again, more folders, more XML documents. The important one to look at is the one that says document. The document folder holds the content information, in this case, of my resume. So let's take a look at what's underneath that. And there you go. So, going to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, so hopefully a little bit easier for you to see. Now notice a lot of the commands that are located here look a lot like the HTML commands that we saw in the Stockton web page. Notice at the beginning, we have a lot of these open and close greater than or less than symbols. And then notice all of the different websites that it refers to. And as we drift down, into the document, hello, there we go. Notice, again, it's defining fonts, it's defining spacing. And notice it takes from the very top to the part which has my name on it, which was the first line of my resume. It's got all of these characters, okay? It's got all of these characters. So what actually looked like to us when we use Microsoft Word, what looks like a very simple document with easy to understand information really has a tremendous amount. And I'm just going to take this down and you could just see how much detail. And I'm not down to the bottom yet. I'm not down to the bottom yet. I'm still going, still going, still going. There. And finally, I get down to some text that you can actually read. And there we go. And it's still loading. It's still loading information. So the point is, first of all, I want you to realize what many of these files have underlining them. I think it's important for you to realize that when you're saving a Microsoft Word file, it's not just the information you're typing in it, but it's all those extraneous characters. So flashing back to our RStudio, when you try to import a document file, and in particular a docx file, that's when you start to have a lot of errors, because R is looking at it and saying, oh my God, there are all these open and closed greater than less than symbols, HTTP : / et cetera, et cetera. There are all of these commands that R does not know what to do with. So how do we deal with that? And then there is a way to deal with it in R. There are a couple of conversion programs that will extract the text information from a docx and create a brand new document. However, it does not happen automatically. It is something that takes quite a bit of time and effort. So what's the easiest way to deal with this? The easiest way is to get to your resume, and I'll stick with the same one. I'm not going to open the zip file. I'm going to open the original. There you go. So here's my original. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save as. I'm going to leave it in the same folder, but what I'm going to do is save it as a plain text file. Okay? Save it as a plain text file. Once I do that, notice it's going to say, oh man, I'm toast. All right? And it says, warning, it's going to eliminate pictures, it's going to eliminate objects, etc. What do I want it to do? You know, what am I thinking? And it says, oh yeah, you can't have, there must be something here. It asks for a symbol in red. It doesn't want that. You could leave the text encoding. You could leave it Windows. You have choices. I am not going to insert line breaks. And I am just going to say, save it as is and say, okay. And of course, now it's saying you're going to lose all your formatting. Well, we knew that. I'm doing this on purpose. Now I've saved it, okay? If you notice in my Dropbox, I now have somewhere, there is my resume as a text file, okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to open it with my Notepad++ to show you what happened to the file. Now we look at it, and guess what? So now we have a text file that can go right into R. If you want to, you can use the commands in R to clean up some weird characters. It's entirely up to you. I tend to ignore them and leave them alone and see what it turns out to be if we just use the R program as we installed it. I'm going to just close this so I could save it. Now I'm going to go back to my R Studio. I've left my R Studio exactly where it is. So what I'm going to do is go back to import my document. I just have to keep going back a little bit. I'm using the up arrow key to cycle through. I'm using my up arrow key to cycle through all of our documents. Again, I'm in Windows, which means that my document will be found on the C drive. One more time, I'm going to have to find its official. I go back to where it exists in my Dropbox. There are a variety of ways to find if you're in Windows. Looking for my text file. There's my text file. You can do the copy path command in the upper left-hand side. That's okay. You can also right-click on it and look at properties. And you could see where it is. It's in Users, Barbado G Dropbox. But thanks to having copied it, I can put it right into, and I use the Control V to paste, and lo and behold, there it is. Now, if you're looking, look at that bottom thing. I've got double quotes. We don't need those. I've got the extra C drive here. Don't need that. That was my fault. So you just have to make sure and clean up your typing for any changes and then hit enter. Uh-oh. So notice what it did. It didn't like the fact that I used a capital letter. So let's see what happens if I get rid of that capital. I don't know why this is getting so cranky here.
This was happening to me too when I was trying to do it. I
Yeah,
think it's the first slash before the U. That
yeah,
was my problem.
it's
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say because that was also happening to me. I looked it up and it said to like put another slash the same way, like enter it manually, and that helped for me.
oh, you need a double slash?
Yeah, that's what I did. I did it for every single slash that there was, and that helps. I don't know, like
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's a Windows thing. So, wait a minute. Ugh. So what happens is, and I'll tell you in just a second, I think I might need one more. Yeah. There we go. So the problem is, notice that I needed the double slash in front of every capitalized letter in the file name. So see my name, because that is Stockton Computer, is my Stockton username, which is just Barbato G, is not capitalized and does not require it. So Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, because they do have a different text formatting system, and notice, like when I wrote GFB full resume, I actually named the file. I use underline characters because if we were to look at one with a space, and I'm just going to find one, I tend not to do it, but there's probably one with a space here. Okay, there we go. I'll take that one just for grins and giggles. And just to show you. So if we were to insert this here with these spaces, it would also give an incorrect entry because it does, R being originally written in Unix doesn't know what to do with spaces or Microsoft's capitalization. So if you have a space in your file name, you have to use a percent sign 20, percent 20 is the actual definition for a space in order to convert a Microsoft name to a Linux or a Unix name or a Mac name for that matter. So again, we're dealing with differences between using Windows and using basically a Unix format for these. But if you add the extra slash for the capital letters, I always try to name my files when I name them. I try to avoid a space, and I use underline. Some people use dashes. I don't know. It's entirely up to you, but just for my peace of mind, I find it easier to read with underlined characters instead of spaces. So it just tends to be how I work because it's easier for me. And you never have to worry about these crazy characters. So once we do that, then we can keep going up. I'm just going to redo so I don't have to recopy all these things. Then once you get it into the file path, there we go. We could read the text. Oh, I don't know what invalid argument. I probably did something. What did I, again, this is great because you see what I did all the time. Invalid argument. Oh, notice, notice my file name. I'm going to go ahead and put an extra cat. And there we go. Once we get through that, I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly. I'm just using the up arrow key till I get to the next statement. There's my corpus. Once I get past the corpus statement, come on. Oops. I'm not going to inspect it. I can inspect it. And there you could read all this just lets you know it's all there. I'm just going to get rid of some of the transformation. That's fine. Again, if you get a warning message, don't worry too much about it unless it tells you to. The only thing you really have to worry about is your not warning statements, but straight up errors. There we go. Remove punctuation. At any rate, I'm not going to go through all of the transforms. You guys can futz with that. And I'm not going to worry about those. Not going to inspect it. Let's put it into the text mining package. Basically, I'm asking it here to calculate all of the frequency of the different words. V, D. This is creating the table. One sec. And then, of course, once we've calculated the table, there's the table. Notice, here's the danger of not stripping out small words, a lot of ands and a lot of thes.
Yo, go back inside. I'm in class. Stop.
So easy to do, so you could always hear it,
Mike
all
wasn't
the words. I'm not going to do it right now. And then we set the seed. And then having set the seed, we'll create the word cloud. And of course, you can see the words the and an, they're good, but genetics is back, biology is back, I'm back, growth, a lot of poultry stuff, because that's about 75% of my career. And of course, I've worked at universities for quite some time, so you can kind of poke at this. You can always go back and rerun, for example, get rid of, I really want to get rid of those small words. Remove the words. Again, you want to try what words. So using the text mining, I'm saying remove words. So what? Well, I definitely want to get rid of the, definitely want to get rid of and. Look, the word for is not in the list. So I'm going to add the word for. Oh, and the word have is in there too. So I want to get rid of the word have. How about with? Oh, yes, you get rid of with. So basically what that'll allow you to do is to now go back and create the matrix. And you can see that the up arrow key is like one of the most useful ever. So now all of a sudden, notice what happened. All the words that I took out are not there. Obviously, I should have taken out the word are and that. That might have helped a little bit too, but they're not too bad. So let's see what the word cloud actually looks like. And that starts to look a little bit better, okay? You've got a little bit more genetics of poultry, biology of growth, and of course it keeps my name in there, which is kind of handy dandy for doing this. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more background. I'm actually really glad to hear that some of you are like Googling the errors. Googling your errors is like one of the best spots to start out. Google is not just for keeping a separate window open when you have an online exam, all right? So you're in good shape. Yeah, Google can help you a lot with this. Meanwhile, the last thing that I wanted to point out, and I guess I'm gonna have to drag this over to the other website, is just to remind you that if you get onto, if you get into PBWorks, all right? So once you're in PBWorks, Systems Bio, you can look into pages and files. The first spot to look is under the assignment folder. This will be under Word Clouds. And you can see a lot of people have already put their word clouds in, a couple recently. And just to take a peek, there you go. So you're in pretty good shape in terms of being able to put your word clouds together. Now, hopefully you'll get a sense that you can go back and change the frequencies of the words. If you want to remove some words, use that text mining command to go back and remove some, change some around. You can also edit the text. If, for example, you want, if you noticed on mine, it removed all the capitalization. If you want to leave capitalization in, you can manipulate the text. Put your name in capitalized, so your name shows up nice in the word cloud. So there we go. That's really where I wanted to end up today. Now I'm hoping that everybody has enough information where you think you can finish. Okay?
Thank you, Professor.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you can stay back.
What's up?
I have to show you something. I was trying to like go through some software, but I don't know why it's not installing. I did install the Anaconda, but I cannot install the RStudio, so I don't know why. So can I just go over with you that like, or if you have time?
Yeah, do you want to, I'll tell you what, I am packed in very shortly. I've got a line of research students here, but do you want to do it on sometime tomorrow?
Sure.
What time?
What time is best for you?
Tomorrow, anytime in the morning.
In the morning. Can we do it before 11:20 because I have a class at 11:20?
Sure, you
So
want to do it
like
at 10?
around 9.
9's fine.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, so we'll
We'll meet at 9.
Zoom at 9.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, I was able to go to the PV Works and I was doing some assignments, but the RS Studio, I was having problem going. So that's what I want to go over with you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Can I also schedule an appointment with you tomorrow?
Absolutely. I just saw your chat here, Ash.
Okay.
What time you want to do it? 10?
I just have class at 9:55.
We're not doing
But
it at 10 then, I guess.
yeah, I could come to campus though and do my class then. I could head over to you right after if that works.
I'm not on campus tomorrow, but I'm on campus on Thursday if you want to come in Thursday morning. Or you want to Zoom. It's up to you.
Okay, I've work on Thursday from like 10 to 4. So I'm assuming you won't be there after 4, right?
Want to Zoom at night? No.
Yeah. Yeah, Zoom at night is perfect.
Okay, so when?
Would 6 o'clock work?
Tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Yeah, for you? Yeah, that'll
Thank
work out.
you. Tomorrow I don't have work. On Thursday I did. Tomorrow I'm
You
free.
not at work tomorrow?
No, I don't. I just have it on. I thought you were talking about Thursday. I'm sorry.
How about 9:30 in the morning?
Yeah, right before my class.
Is that okay?
Fine. Fine by me.
All right, perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Good. I'll send you an invitation separate.
Appreciate it. Thanks so
All
much.
right, see you, Ash. Anybody else?
I need help because I like have everything finished and the word cloud's like created everything. It just looks small. And it keeps telling me that there's more than 50 errors or more than 50 warnings.
Oh, that's probably good. Did you? What I would do first, just real quick, do you want to do, can you do it at 10 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can you Zoom at 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, I would try to double check your text file.
Okay. I changed it to just being like a text format, like you said in the thing, but it's still it just doesn't look right.
All right. Well, we'll check it tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
All right. Dave, you got something?
Yeah. Can I would I be able to schedule like something with you for Thursday?
Sure. Thursday, what time?
Probably like sometime in the afternoon. Whenever you're good.
I am kind of full on Thursday afternoon. How about tomorrow afternoon?
Tomorrow could work. It would probably have to be around like 3 or
Fine.
4. But yeah, I messed up and
No big deal.
I just gotta talk to you a little bit and just get some stuff straightened out.
All right, no problem. So 3 o'clock, I'll get the Zoom invitations out. Probably first, if not tonight, first thing in the morning.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. All right, you guys.
Oh, question.
Yep.
I was trying to upload my Wordcloud to the blog, to the assignment folder, and it's saying that I don't have permission to do it.
That's interesting. Let me check. I got that open over here. Let's see if I can, where are you, Cass? No, you definitely have permission.
Okay.
What I would try to do is in the page and files,
Okay.
get yourself into the Wordcloud folder where you can see everybody's.
Okay.
And then in the upper left-hand side, there's a new, and then it says create a page.
Okay.
And do it that way rather than trying to upload directly a picture.
Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna log back into the blog really fast so that way I can.
Okay.
make sure I'm looking at the correct thing.
Okay, while you're doing that, anybody else?
Yeah. Can you? I'm having trouble importing my resume into our studio.
Yeah.
I think I can go to your office hours tomorrow, like around 11:30.
I'm not on campus on Wednesday. I'm here on Thursday though.
Okay, so can I make like a Zoom meeting with you?
Sure. What time would you like to do? You want to do it tomorrow? You want to do it Thursday before class?
I can do it either. What's Thursday? Okay. I can do it on Thursday before class.
Okay, so say what, 10:30 on Thursday?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Okay, thank you so much.
anytime. See you, Stace.
Professor, I just have a quick question.
Yeah,
When you do you still have like our studio up real quick?
yeah.
Like, I don't know if like how to save it. Like the left panel, you know, the top left panel is just for like notes or whatever, and then the console is where you do your code.
Yeah.
How do you save it so when you like X out and you like start back up tomorrow, everything's still there?
So there are a couple ways to do it. One way is here. I've got my little Wordcloud R. You see it? Up top, you've got File, and then you could save it. You could save it as. You could do any of those things, and that'll save everything that is in this upper left area.
Okay.
If you want to save the commands that you already have, if you obviously if you want to save your picture, so now I'm just pointing in the lower right hand quadrant. There's an export.
Yeah, I got that. I exported my image. I just want to make sure, like, if I'm ever in the middle of something and I can't complete it, I can save the stuff in the console.
Yeah. Usually, if you exit, as soon as you quit, it says, what do you want to save?
Okay.
Okay, and you can see your workspace image and your Wordcloud R, which would be the script that I have up above. So that should save those. And then when you open it, what you can do is actually go to the file and open your project.
Oh, okay.
So see, you can open your project, and then it'll give you this list, and that's what you want, your workspace.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Okay, we good?
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys. I'll talk to you on Thursday, or everybody who's coming Zooming tomorrow in between here and there. Try to stay dry. It should stop raining one of these years. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.